We arrived in Paris yesterday, but I didn't vlog because it was just really busy and the airport was a little bit stressful. But I'll put some pictures. Basically, when we got here, we came back to the apartment, which was really nice, and then we went out for dinner at a restaurant which is really good but also really cheap. I went there last time I came. Yeah, so I took my boyfriend back.
The restaurant was called Bouillon. Sean got sausage and mash with gravy, which I thought was quite funny, very British of him, and I got aubergine parmigiana.
And then we went to Sacré-Cœur, but then I got a stomachache, so we had to come home early. But yeah, this is our first full day.
The first day was very busy. We had 3 things booked, 2 museums in the morning and then an Eiffel Tower tour in the afternoon. Before the first museum, we stopped off for a matcha and a coffee at a cafe, but we were running a little bit late, so we got a takeaway. The first museum was Musée de l'Orangerie, and we had tickets, so we didn't have to queue. Compared to the Louvre, it's a pretty small museum. It probably took us about an hour to get around. You can see some pretty famous artwork, including Monet's water lilies, and also paintings by Picasso and Matisse. I'm not someone who's particularly into art, but the water lilies were absolutely amazing to see in person. We also stopped at the cafe in the museum to get some pastries because we didn't eat breakfast as we were in too much of a rush. As well as the main exhibitions, there are also some temporary ones which are pretty cool. There was this little retro television where you can put on headphones and watch this video called I'm Not the Girl Who Misses Much, and it is a very interesting piece of artwork, although I will say it's slightly unnerving. Overall, I definitely recommend this museum. It's not too busy and it's very quiet. It's quite a relaxing experience. There were lots of different styles of art and even some photography. Basically, straight after that, we headed to the Dior Gallery. They're pretty close together, which is very convenient. This museum basically shows you all the different eras of Dior and you learn a lot about the history. In my opinion, it's definitely the most aesthetically pleasing museum. And as always, Sean found plenty of photo opportunities, as you can see here. It was really interesting and very different to the other museums that I've been to before. And it wasn't too busy, so you do actually have time to look at the different dresses. There's also a bit about Dior perfume, which is really cool as well. It took us probably around an hour and a half to visit this museum. We didn't have the Eiffel Tower tour booked until 3:30, so we had plenty of time to get lunch and then get to the area around the Eiffel Tower. I think this day was the hottest. It was 35 degrees. It was absolutely boiling. I booked the same tour as I did last time, which is a tour to the 2nd floor of the Eiffel Tower because tickets to the top floor were really expensive. You basically go up in this little lift, which is absolutely packed with people. Because it was so busy, the camera footage is not great, but a guy in our tour group started doing pull-ups in the lift and I had to join in, had a little competition. Sean is actually afraid of heights, but he did really well in the lift, which I was impressed by, because when you're going up you can see you're getting higher and higher, and even I found it a little bit unnerving. But when you get out of the lift, the view is absolutely amazing. You can see basically the entire city. It's so beautiful. Unfortunately, the sound on the next few clips was horrendous for some reason, so I've turned the volume right down, but there are subtitles.
Okay, Paris 2nd floor, Eiffel Tower.
What can you see? Across that bridge earlier.
Hello.
Sean's up the Eiffel Tower.
Oh my god, that's actually terrifying.
Okay, so for some reason I didn't really take any of the videos on that day. There are flies everywhere in here. So I'm going to tell you what we did, and I'm going to tell you, and then I'm going to put pictures and any short clips that I have around here so you know what I'm talking about. So after we went to the Eiffel Tower, we climbed down the stairs, which took slightly longer than we expected, but there was a huge queue for the lift. And I'd booked dinner at a restaurant called Obermama. So we went back to the apartment got changed, had a shower, because by the way, the whole time we were there, it was 30 degrees plus every single day, which is pretty hot to be just walking around a city. And then we got the train to Obermama. At Obermama, it was lovely. The food is really good, the restaurant's really cute. I could not decide whether to get pizza or pasta though, so my boyfriend got a margherita pizza and I got a pasta with tomato sauce and cheese, and that was really good. But I got to try a bit of the pizza and he tried a bit of the pasta, but yeah, they were both really good, so I definitely recommend that. And then after that we got the train back to near our Airbnb, but I'm one of those people, I cannot go to bed without a sweet treat. So we went on a hunt for a sweet treat, which was more challenging than it sounds because all the bakeries were closed. It must have been like 9:30 p.m. We walked up to Sacré-Cœur. There is an ice cream dessert place called Amarino, it's a chain, and I really wanted a crepe. So we're in the queue for like 25 minutes, got to the front of the queue, and then the guy was like, oh, we don't have any crepes today, only ice cream. So I was a bit disappointed about that. But I ordered a pistachio ice cream with a little green macaron on the top, but it did melt extremely quickly, so I literally inhaled it by the time we got to the bottom of the road. Yeah, and then we just went back to the Airbnb and went to bed. Okay, so now I'm going to tell you about the second full day in Paris. I do have a lot of videos, but there isn't that much sound, so I'm kind of going to do what I did before. So in the morning we got up and my boyfriend went to a little bakery that we'd seen the day before that was super close to our Airbnb, and he got us some pastries for breakfast. He got a pain au chocolat and a croissant, and I got a pain au chocolat. And then, I don't know where on earth he'd seen this, but he decided to mix coffee into a white monster, and he said it was okay, but then I tried it and I thought it was absolutely disgusting. But maybe that's because I don't really like white monster in the first place. Anyway, that is completely irrelevant. So we had breakfast on the balcony, which felt very picturesque, and the weather was super nice as well. And then at 12 o'clock we had booked to visit the Opera House, and it was absolutely beautiful inside. It was quite similar to Versailles because there's like this, like a hallway that's got really intricate ceilings, chandeliers and that, and it's quite similar to the Hall of Mirrors, I think it's called, in Versailles. But it was absolutely beautiful. I definitely recommend visiting because I've never been there before.
There she is.
After that, I really wanted a matcha and Sean wanted a coffee, so we went to Cafe Nuances. I'll write it here. And I went there last time I was in Paris and it was really good, so we went back. I got a strawberry matcha. That is a really nice cafe, I definitely recommend it. And the inside is it's very aesthetically pleasing as well. So after we had our little coffee break, we headed to Galeries Lafayette. We got some souvenirs. You can actually go up to the top of Galeries Lafayette and there's like a terrace and you can see the Eiffel Tower. The view is beautiful. I personally, it's my favourite view in Paris aside from at the top of the Eiffel Tower. So at the top of Galeries Lafayette, it really is like a classic Parisian landscape. It's beautiful. After that, we were both absolutely exhausted, and also it was really hot and very sweaty. So we decided to get the train back to the Airbnb and then we just chilled there for a few hours. 21st of June in France is Fête de la Musique, which is basically a celebration which aims to make music more accessible to everyone. So there are like free concerts, and then there's like essentially lots and lots of buskers in the street, like different bands, different DJs and things playing all in the streets. So we walked past Ambert, past where you'd walk up to Sacré-Cœur, and then into Pigalle, and there it was much louder. Like, it was quite early still, maybe like 6, but there were crowds of people kind of gathering. There was a club which had a DJ outside and like this giant blow-up chili pepper and lots of like funny posters on the walls. But then we ended up going into some of the smaller back roads and we found such a nice restaurant. It was very, very busy, but mostly with French people. But the food was amazing and it wasn't so expensive. After dinner, we went to listen to some of the music and it was really, really fun. At one point, I bumped into this lady who was carrying a beer and she spilled the beer all down my white shirt, white top. And then the DJ saw and he like sprayed me with a water gun to clear me off. So it was really fun and the vibes were kind of good at this point. As it got later and later, it got busier and busier and it was getting a little bit scary. It was way too busy for me, it was a bit stressful. It was like you'll get stuck in a crowd and you can't find a way out. And people were letting off like firecrackers in the crowd and it was very stressful. And I was also very cautious about being spiked. I didn't want to be in that crowd anymore. So we walked towards the train station Amber and there were like just these two boys like my age and they were playing the guitar, like taking turns playing the guitar and singing, and they were singing like Ed Sheeran, Coldplay, and everyone was singing along. At the start there was just a circle of maybe like 10 of us, but by the end there were maybe like 50 people and that was really, really fun. The vibes were just so good. It was really wholesome actually.
Carry love, carry children.
And we headed back to our apartment, chilled there for a little bit, but then I decided that I really wanted to go out again. So we went out just super close to our Airbnb for one last song. So on the last day we had to be out of the apartment by 11 o'clock. Then we went to Republique and we went to Immersion for brunch. It's quite popular on social media at the moment, so there was a queue. So maybe just be aware of that if you do go. But the queue went pretty fast, but maybe that's because there were only 2 of us. Anyway, the food was so good. I got pancakes with berries and Sean got waffles. We also got drinks, got a matcha and then Sean got a mocha. But it was definitely the best brunch I've ever had, so I definitely recommend. And then after that, we decided to go to Notre Dame because we didn't actually have to get the train to the airport until around 6 p.m. So we had pretty much all day, which was nice. I went to Notre Dame just before the fire a few years ago, but Sean has never been to Paris, so he'd never seen it. So we decided to go and have a look. Plus, I really like the Gothic architecture of it. We didn't go inside, but we just chilled around that area for a while, and we also went into some of the souvenir shops. My little brother, he collects shot glasses, which is mildly inappropriate, but whatever. And Sean spotted a shot glass that was really, really funny, so we got that for my brother. I'll put a picture of it here. Then after that, we decided to get the train back to the area around Sacré-Cœur. We walked up to Sacré-Cœur, not all the way to the top, but we just chilled on the steps, read our book, and then we had a little bit of a nap, like on the banks, on the grass, because the weather was really, really nice, and that was really relaxing. And then we went to a bakery to get something for lunch and then also something for the airport to eat at the airport later. So I just got a baguette and then we just ate lunch on a bench. And then we headed to Gare du Nord to get the train back to Charles de Gaulle, which is the airport. So yeah, that was basically our Paris trip.